We running? Thank you. With LA County Supervisor of the 4th District, Miss Janice Hahn, who just got through walking the parade route with all the brothers and sisters of labor. Janice, how does it feel?
Thank you, James Allen, and thanks for having me here today. You know, Labor Day in 2018, I think it's as important as any Labor Day we've ever had. I mean, you think we've gotten to a point in our country where we don't have to fight for working conditions or decent wages or health care, and yet we find at every turn the rights and the dignity of working men and women are being threatened all the time, whether it's a Supreme Court case or employers who are trying to cut corners. We have hotel workers.
We have construction workers in San Pedro that aren't union organized.
Well, one of the things that I made it a policy for myself in the County of Los Angeles, there's not going to be a project built in the County of Los Angeles that won't have a project labor agreement, whether it's Marina del Rey or San Pedro or Whittier, because those are the things I want to fight for. I'm also fighting against contracting out at the county and trying to bring those good jobs in-house so people can be real county employees with wages and benefits.
You're not going to have any Uber employees?
No. I want these to be good jobs. You know, it's worth fighting for. It's worth fighting for these jobs because they're about the middle class. And this is how you get to the American dream, right? You have a good job, decent wages, and you're able to buy a home, send your kids to school, and, you know, have a slice of the American dream. If these jobs go away, you know, that's going to be a real crisis. So anyway, I just think today, I know it's only one day, and the whole country stops today to honor working men and women, but I think the fight is still very real to protect what they have fought for so far.
So how do you take that idealism and plug that into county governance in terms of contracts, labor agreements, and whatnot? You mentioned contract labor agreements for projects. Tell me how the San Pedro Courthouse project is coming along.
Well, we've put out an RFP. And we extended it a little bit because we thought Labor Day weekend, we thought maybe some of these folks wanted to take a little more time to return their responses. But it's very clear that it will be a project labor agreement. And I feel pretty strongly that as we fight for people's good jobs, we also got to fight for building more homes that people can afford
to live in. And so there's a direct correlation between good jobs and
it's one thing to have a good job, but if we don't have places that people can actually afford to buy, then we haven't solved the problem yet. And that's going to be something that I feel very strongly about the project in the courthouse.
So in the county projects, there is a mandate of what, 20% of affordable housing?
Yes, right now that's what it is. That can be negotiated, but project labor agreements can't be negotiated. That I won't do a project unless we've got that. Let's face it, project labor agreements not only give you a better product, you get better work, you don't have to go back and redo things, and it creates these apprenticeship programs. And again, it creates a pipeline for people to learn good skills. I always say skills to pay your bills. And with the county doing project labor agreements, we're creating this pipeline of people who are learning these skills and then can get into these really good labor careers with good jobs.
Right.
So that's another thing a project labor agreement brings to the table.
Currently, any of the housing that's being built in San Pedro or Wilmington, I don't believe actually has a project labor agreement.
I'm not sure about Wilmington, but if it's a city project, I do know that one project in San Pedro doesn't have it. But those are not county projects.
Right.
You will not see a county project that goes against a project labor agreement.
And yet, the gentleman representing this district, who was up there announcing today, actually has control over those kind of issues in the city of LA, doesn't he?
Well, I think what happens a lot of times is, when you're trying to build something at a price that everybody can afford, the developers come in and try to make the argument that it's the labor costs that drives up the cost of the project. So sometimes, it seems to pencil out better for developers, and sometimes that's how these projects get built. But I think we need to stand firm on that, because you don't want to cut costs when it comes to labor. And again, it's not just the carpenter, it's not just the bricklayer, it's not just the masoner, it's not the iron worker. I mean, it is that, but it is jobs, it is families, it is someone learning that skill, it is a lifestyle, it is the middle class. I mean, these are all means to achieving the American dream. And I think those of us who have the power to do that need to stand very firm on the side of project labor.
Well, it seems as though you have a majority on the Board of Supervisors for that sort of thing. I find it kind of astounding that in the city of Los Angeles, where there is a majority of Democratic registered council people, that they don't have a majority for that sort of thing. And yet they show up at events like this, touting their union solidarity.
Well, again, we all have to make decisions politically or economically that we think works. But I know for me, I can only speak for myself. You'll have to interview those other people you're talking about yourself. But for me, I'm going to stand up for project labor agreements, and I'm going to stand up for the sanctity of a good paying job that is a decent wage, that is a wage you can live on with good benefits and health care. I think and again, you've got the Janice decision in the Supreme Court that is trying to undermine the ability of unions to collect dues so that they can have a voice. And who's getting the louder voices? The rich, the powerful, the corporations, they don't have to worry. They got all the money, they got all the lawyers, but it's the working men and women that need a voice. So I hope that they can count on me, at least, as a powerful member of the Board of Supervisors to be their voice.
Great. Thank you, Janice, and have a happy Labor Day. And
Thank you.
Give them hell.
I will. And thanks for the random links. It's a great paper, and it always tells the truth.
Thank you. All right.